ahead and use the strategy of FAST to help us with characterization. I know when we read our short story, some of you guys have trouble finding out character qualities. So I'm going to introduce a strategy of FAST, using the acronym FAST to go through so that we can use that information to highlight FAST, the character's feelings. A is the character's actions. S is the character's sayings or their dialogue. And the T is character thoughts. And we're going to use the information that we highlight in the text to make an inference on that character quality. So let's go ahead and recap what the acronym FAST stands for real quick. So the F stands for feelings. The A stands for actions. The S stands for saying. And the T is thoughts. So we talked about making an inference. What do you think is going to happen if we go through the text and if we highlight evidence of the character's feelings and their actions and sayings? How do you think that's going to help us understand that character's personality? Yeah, so if we go through and if we highlight or we underline or tag the character's feelings, how does doing that help us understand or be able to assign a character quality to that character?
Because
Where it's taking place, so that's like pretty much our evidence, right? And remember, when we make an inference, we have to make sure that we have the evidence to back it up, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and read through the first passage. What we're going to do is we're going to read the passage and then we're going to identify the character qualities using the acronym of FAST. So if we see any feelings, we're going to go through according to the color code that you're assigning with your key. You're going to highlight any feelings. If you see any of the actions of the character that's telling, you're going to highlight or you're going to underline them using the color that you're assigning. Same thing for the S, same thing for the T. So for the first paragraph, we have Jake is Cassie's older brother. One day, they are walking home from school when a cold front rolls in and the temperature drops 20 degrees. Jake is dressed more appropriately for the weather than Cassie. He takes off his hooded sweatshirt and offers it to her. She gratefully accepts. Jake is now colder, but he is happy. Using the acronym of FAST, do the paragraph offer any feelings that tell us about Jake's personality? Yes. Okay, you said yes first. You want to go ahead and tell me what are we going to underline that tell us about how he feels?
Because he says Jake is colder but happier now.
Okay, so Jake is colder but happier now. So using the color that you assigned for F, go ahead and highlight that. Okay. For the next acronym of A, any actions. Do we see any actions here?
Yes.
Jake is Cassie's older brother. One day they're walking home from school in a cold front. So we see that they are walking. So we're going to go ahead and highlight that in our color. That you assigned for A, walking home from school. Are there any other actions that you see Jake doing in the?
He takes off his
hooded sweatshirt. He does what? He offers it to her. So we're going to go ahead and underline that too. Okay. Are there any other actions for Jake? What about dialogue? Let's go ahead and use our color that we use for dialogue. Do we have any dialogue that we can highlight for Jake?
When it's cold.
So what is dialogue? Dialogue is
it's
what?
a saying.
It's a saying. So is there any dialogue that we can highlight for Jake?
No.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and skip that. Let's go ahead and pick up our pencils to help us identify any thoughts. Do we have any thoughts that we can underline for Jake? So Jake is Cassie's older brother. One day they're walking home from school when it's cold. When a cold front rolls in and the temperature drops 20 degrees. Jake is dressed more appropriately for the weather than Cassie. He takes off his hooded sweatshirt and offers it to her. She accepts it gratefully. Jake is now colder, but he's happier. Any thoughts of Jake? No. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go to the question. The question says, what character traits does Jake demonstrate? And then we have to follow up with our evidence. So based upon the information we highlighted, what character quality can we assign to Jake? so I hear several things. I heard that he's kind. I heard that he's caring. So we're gonna go ahead and write that off to the side next to our evidence. I heard you said that he's a what? He's a gentleman. What do you mean by that?
Because he offers her his jacket.
Yes. So how can we go ahead and answer this question? Jake, we're going to be able to answer the question, we have our character traits off written off to the side. We're going to go ahead and write a sentence statement answering the question along with our evidence. So we're going to write Jake is portrayed is P-O-R-T-R-A-Y. You want to know what the word portrayed means? When you see that word, he's portrayed. Do you want to know what that means? Portrayed, it simply means he's seen. So the audience see him as this. So he's portrayed. P-O-R-T-R-A-Y-E-D. He's portrayed as a. Now this is the part we're going to choose one character trait that we came up with. So we came up with 3. We came up with kind, caring, or a gentleman. But understand, whatever character trait that we put in, we're going to back it up with our evidence. So I'm going to say he is caring, as a caring citizen. Here. Now, I have to back it up, as I said, well, what's the evidence, right? So I'm going to say, this is evident when he takes off his sweatshirt and offers it to his sister. Okay, so let's go ahead and recap. So the first thing I did, so I'm not saying recap, I want to go back over the steps that we use in order to answer the question for characterization using the acronym of FAST. So what's the first step that I use to help us gather our character traits?
This the fast we try to fit him and then we do a sentence and we do a tweak so he's whatever Jake's trying to do.
Yes, okay, so we went through our paragraph and we highlighted using FAST our different evidence that fits the acronym of FAST. We highlighted any feelings, actions, sayings, or thoughts that were shown in the paragraph. And then from there, we generated our character qualities off in the margin that went back to our evidence that we collected. And then from there, using sentence stems, we came up with a sentence that answered the question on how Jake was portrayed. And we said that Jake was portrayed as a caring sibling, and we also went back to our evidence and backed it up by giving our justification or evidence. And we said this is evident when he takes off his sweater and offers it to his sister. So overall, Jake is a what type of person? Caring person. Or kind person. Well, like you said, he's a gentleman. Any one of those words we could have backed up with evidence to say the same thing. Okay? Now this is what I want you to do. Number 2, I want you to read it silently, but you can work together to go through the same process to answer the second question. What character traits does Lyle demonstrate along with the evidence? So I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes to do that. So you're going to read through, and then you can talk together to come up with the character traits, talk about what evidence you collected, and then you're going to go ahead and answer the question. Are there any questions? No. Okay, go ahead. Your mom is the person. come tomorrow, okay, Keisha? I'll do some one-on-one with you, no problem. I'll see you tomorrow, babe. Have a good evening. Hey, remind me to give you your stickers, okay? Tomorrow. So just you guys. So
I
what do you
think his actions. Ryan was yawning and almost fell asleep.
Okay, so at this point, you guys are, you're talking to one another. I need to see where you using your fast to unlock.
I'm gonna
Any feelings that you see?
The tryouts?
allows his actions.
Okay, so no feelings. We have actions. Okay, so let's go ahead and start using our coded pencil that goes along with our A. And you're gonna go ahead and tag it.
When you do the tryouts?
Can you underline that he constantly, consequently, he slept in and arrived at the pipe?
Is that an action? Yes. So you're gonna underline that. What else did you underline for your action?
He was yawning.
He's yawning and almost fell asleep. Any other actions?
He
Lyle?
stayed up late with his
Stayed up late at night, hanging out with his friends, okay. Do we have any dialogue for Lyle?
No.
No dialogue. What about thoughts?
Didn't it say after Lyle asked him to get a job there? Wouldn't that be a thought?
Which one?
Right here where it says
After Lau asked Ted, okay, so yeah, they can consider that as dialogue. So usually he asked Ted to get him a job there several times. Actually, that's action. That's an action. That's an action. Okay. So far we only have actions that's presented in our paragraph. So based upon evidence, what character traits do you think we can assign Lau based upon the evidence that we have underlined? He's not reliable. Okay. Let's go ahead and write that down. Not reliable. Do you have the evidence to back it up?
because it says he stayed up late with his friends and then consequently he slept in and arrived.
Okay. So the fact that he hung out and he slept in, so he was late for work.
But no, he had
No, he had, so, okay, any other words, any other character traits that we can assign him? So not reliable is one. Or unreliable. Irresponsible. What about you, Isaiah?
He was tired.
Okay, was he tired? So let me ask you this. So he yawned and almost fell asleep. He arrived late. You come up with some good ones. Unprofessional. Why do you say he was unprofessional?
With those who showed up late and he wasn't on time.
Right, showed up late, and once again, wasn't on time for work. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and use our sentence starter, which is Lyle is portrayed as, and then you're gonna go ahead and choose one of those traits to plug in to finish the sentence. And then your next sentence starter, this is evident when, and you're going to give me your text evidence to justify it. So I'm going to give you a few moments to go ahead and finish the thoughts, and then we'll share out before we get to the independent practice.
Okay, Isaiah, I want you to share out first when you're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's hear what you got.
Like I said, Miles is portrayed as an unresponsible person. He stays up late with friends and afterwards sleeps in knowing he had to be at a place at a certain time.
Oh, give me a high five on that. Good job. What about you? What did you come up with?
I thought he is portrayed as unprofessional. This is evident when he shows up in outing.
Absolutely. Good job. Okay, so this is what I need you guys to remember. When it comes down to fiction, and you know that one of the characteristics that you guys have been looking for in fiction is characterization. You can use the strategy of FAST to help you with characterization. You remember when you get your test, go ahead and jot down the acronym FAST, and as you're reading, actively start highlighting so that you're gathering, as you're reading, you're highlighting, you're gathering your evidence so that you already have your evidence to help you make an inference or infer what the character is being portrayed as, and that's going to help you with your questions. So do I have any questions right now on the strategy? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to go back to class, and when we finish reading our three tracks in the snow, three tracks in the snow, I want you to go ahead and use this strategy to help you with characterization of Cassie in the story.